February the 16th, 2017. Guys, I had a couple questions about two asteroids, and I want to point these out. You're looking at stereo B images, which is on the opposite side of the sun as Earth, but in Earth's orbit. And those three stars that appear to be stars there that are lined up, the top one is not. It is an asteroid. I'm going to show you that one, and we're going to back out again, staying with the stereo A satellite. Again, on the opposite side of the sun is the Earth. And we're going to look at another asteroid called Vesta. And it's technically Vesta 4, but in this box, guys, if you can see it, you're going to see the movement of an asteroid there. Now, Vesta is the next largest thing in our solar system to our planet, the moon. Think about this. Now, same satellite, but we're backing out. You're seeing Earth, Venus, and under the green dot, guys, pay attention to that. That is Vesta 4. That is a very large object, and it is in our asteroid belt. So that's telling you it's between Mars and Jupiter. Check it out here. I know it's a little hard to see, but right there, guys. Vesta. This is very interesting. Well, not only are we going to talk about what they are, but I'm kind of giving you a tutorial on how to go to our website and use the tools to find this. Why would I want to do that? Because if we have something that disrupts objects in our asteroid belt, as I've said many times, the ancients called Jupiter Nibiru. And they have done modeling showing Jupiter colliding into the inner solar system and creating chaos with all the inner planets. But the images are coming from here, stereo A, or stereo ahead. And it is in Earth's orbit, but it is on the other side of the sun. So let's look at where it is. As you notice today's date, February the 16th, 2017. In the bottom, in the blue section, the Earth is to the right. Venus is behind it. The sun is in the center in the yellow dot. Now, if we pull up different tools, and one would be your visual controls that you see on the bottom right in the blue section. That will allow you to change things like add asteroids or add satellites or add comets or things like that. And so that's what I did. I clicked on asteroids. Now what you're seeing, and again we're now have pulled into Earth, is that 243 Ida, not 253 mouth hide, although it's there. That's an asteroid. You're seeing the moon, Jupiter, but 243 Ida was the first asteroid, I believe, and the red image is coming from stereo A. Now 4Vesta is behind the Earth and Venus from the same satellite with a different camera with a much different angle. And we were seeing that in the blue images. But 4Vesta, and 4 is the designation that was given to it a long time ago because it was so large that it was discovered in the 1800s. Think about that. And as you look at this, notice that Vesta, as I click on it, has an upward orbit, and we were seeing that in the images from the Secchi A satellite showing the blue camera that we're looking at 4Vesta. And we'll go and look at a little bit of information about each one of these. But guys, this asteroid belt, going back to Nibiru, going back to what the ancients called Jupiter, was Nibiru, the planet of the crossing, because scientists now, as we look at Vesta, check this out. This was 2011 as the satellite Dawn passed by, orbited, and then went on out to Ceres, another asteroid. Vesta, minor planet, designation 4Vesta, is one of the largest objects in the asteroid belt. Think about that. It is 326 miles. It was discovered by the German astronomer Heinrich Wilhelm Olbers on March 29th, 1807. That's telling you how large it is. We didn't have Hubble back then. It's the second most massive and second largest body in the asteroid belt after the dwarf planet Ceres. And it contributes an estimated 9% of the mass of the asteroid belt. Think about that. That's a lot. Again, going back to Jupiter, models were done. And they backed them up in time. And they showed that Jupiter as well as Saturn, was pulled into the inner solar system, possibly destroying a planet that was between Mars and Jupiter that now is the asteroid belt. And these are part of that. And they're saying that now there's many meteorites that they have tested as far as howardite, eucreite, digenite. These meteorites, HED meteorites, came from Vesta because of the same chemical composition. As they look at how it broke apart and they look at the trajectory of the different orbits of this thing and what could have peeled off. 3.63 year orbit instead of a 12-month orbit the way we have. And that's typical because, again, it's on the other side of Mars. But as Jupiter came in, possibly crushing another planet, it formed this asteroid belt and came in further, created chaos. Jupiter has over 60 moons, but you're looking at Ceres, Vesta, and the moon. Now, in front of this, the first one we saw, 243 Ida, it was also large because it was discovered, notice that, September 1884 by Johann Palisa at Vienna Observatory. It's the most numerous type in the inner asteroid belt. Think about that. So we're seeing it because it's not in the outer asteroid belt. It's a little closer. It's back in there, but it's part of all of this debris. Notice in the image to the right that they have discovered that it has a moon called Dactyl, and that was discovered on a flyby from Galileo, space flight there. Amazing to see this, but that's what we're seeing. Again, I want to go back and say the importance of doing this is that there are people there that are interested in being able to do it, because many people have talked about what could be approaching our planet. Is it Planet X, Planet 9, whatever? These are the tools that you would find it at. These are the observatories that would show you, and these are the tools that would allow you to determine what the object is. So it's very important to understand this. You know, it's the glory of God to hide a matter, but it's the honor of kings to search it out. Old Testament. Now, they call this an S-type asteroid, and it says the images from Galileo and the subsequent measurements of Ida's mass provided new insights into the geology. Before the Galileo flyby, many different theories had been proposed to explain their mineral composition. Determining their composition permits a correlation between meteorites, listen to this, falling to the Earth and their origin in the asteroid belt. Data returned from the flyby pointed to S-type asteroids as a source for the ordinary chondrite meteorites, the most common found on Earth. Yes, there was something that happened in the asteroid belt, and yes, we still feel the effects of it. Jupiter, right in front of your faces, guys, is the sun's binary twin. Do you understand that? It has its own magnetic field, and it has an orbit that is separate from the sun. The sun does not control its orbit. It actually has an effect on the sun's orbit, and they have a relationship in their orbit, unlike anything else. Binary twin. But on our website, guys, all of the links I'm talking about, from Secchi to the ACE satellite, we're watching the solar winds increasing tonight because of this large coronal hole that is coming around the sun. And it's now, as we looked at it yesterday, I was concerned, well, maybe it won't be as bad, because even though it appeared to cover the entire Earth-facing side of the sun, the rear section hadn't opened. And it was not wide, but now it is the widest section of the entire coronal hole. But if you look at the ACE satellite, one of the links there, the radial speed in the red is solar wind speed in kilometers per second. It has jumped from 300, if you look at the last 3 days going to 7 days, now we're into 450. We will see this go to possibly 600 with this coronal hole, maybe even more in spikes. But this is 7 days. Notice again in the center the radial speed, or the solar wind speed. 7-day periods now that we're seeing this continuous pulse coming from the sun. And it's in a way, it's a natural process because the sun is releasing helium that it would normally release in a solar maximum via coronal mass ejections and solar flares. But as we look at the SDO and the images, you can see that the rear section from yesterday now is the widest section. We'll pull up this triple camera imaging here. And the SDO is different from the first images, stereo A. We're looking at Earth-facing images, and this blue area is a coronal hole, which means there's no magnetic canopy capturing the energy leaving the sun. As you see in the top sections, you see the big loops. As the energy releases from the sun, those magnetic canopies capture it and pull it back in. The large blue areas is a clear day. To realize the size of this, total volume of the sun is 1.4 times 10 to 27 cubic meters. About 1.3 million Earths could fit inside the sun, guys. Think about that. Think about how big that solar wind stream is that's coming at our planet. And it's a part of a natural process again. Solar minimum. We have weakened shields, but when we see an increase in solar wind speed, we see pressure on the tectonic plates, but we see our shields react and become more energetic. And think about this also. The sun contains 99.8% of the mass of the entire solar system. And that goes back to a book called Planetary Sciences that refers to the solar system as the sun plus some debris. We live on a chunk of that debris. But guys, when I say that Jupiter is Nibiru, many people blow that off. It goes against all the theories, all the data that they have formulated and put into videos and books and things like that. And most of that data is imperfect because there's been no visual proof. But what I'm telling you is scientific data that Jupiter moved. It crossed the planet of the crossing into the inner solar system, creating chaos. And so when you talk about Planet X and you talk about Nibiru, it's not something coming from way out, way away from us. We would have time to see it. Not a lot we could do about it, but this thing is right in front of us. So all it would take is some type of deviation with the orbits, some type of interference, the same thing that caused Jupiter and Saturn again to move into the inner solar system to happen again. Could it be a magnetic slip? Could it be a magnetic shadow? We've talked about that before, and I will update it, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.